Welcome back to Books and Beer. We're back at Rocket Republic. Check out the astronaut. Oh my goodness, they have the coolest mural here downtown. Today we're drinking the 6-iron German Pilsner, which I think for both of us inspired at least several golf picks. I know I chose several golf picks.
I picked one.
There you go. Do you want to start with your one?
You know what? I might as well. So, I am not a sporty man.
Okay.
Never have been. But golf has always been kind of an interesting sort of exception. I play it every now and then at family gatherings, sure, or with a friend every now and then. And back when I was in college, every year I would watch the Masters with one of my best friends at the time. It was more of a bonding thing than actually about the sport of it. Sure. But I found that we had a book in my branch called The Masters, Golf, Money, and Power in Augusta, Georgia, which is where the Masters is. Right. Yeah, and let me tell you, that title is not just informative. Like, this author really likes money and power.
Okay, do go on.
I mean, not only that, but he also really likes golf. Like, the book is very well written, but it doesn't do much to assuage that stereotype of golf as a rich man's game. There's an actual part in here. Let me see if I can find it. I wrote it down. Here we go. He writes, Augusta National was a country of kings, with no confused or impoverished peasants accustomed to following someone else's rules. And I'm just over here like, dude, you're hitting a ball with a stick. So, and I learned that they established the club in 1933, and somehow during the Depression raised $170,000 to buy the land and get the thing made, which adjusted for inflation is about $3.4 million today. So it's kind of an astounding story how it all got started, and like how they have just become so famous through the years. Right. So if you're into golf, really give this a read. It's a little bit like at times, but well written and very informative.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to start off my golf books with a fiction title called The Legend of Bagger Vance. Okay. If this sounds familiar to you, it's probably because there was a movie with Will Smith back in 2000.
That's what it sounded
like. And I think Matt Damon was in it too. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Anyway, I listened to the audiobook on Hoopla. It's a really good narrator. The book is about Juna, who is a Georgia native. Okay. He is a World War I hero. He is an avid golfer, and he has a caddy named Bagger Vance. Okay. And basically, Juna is pitted against these two golf titans of the era, which is the early Great Depression. Mm-hmm. A brand new golf course was built in Savannah, Georgia, and immediately the stock market crashed, and all of a sudden this family is like, how are we going to support this golf course? So they have this big tournament and raise funds for it. Okay. So Bagger Vance, who's the caddy, acts as a mentor and generally solid friend to Juna, and he kind of walks him through the mental sport that golf actually usually turns out to be. You know how it's always like, if you think positively about your game, usually positive outcomes will happen. There's a lot of that in this book, and Bagger Vance ends up being this semi-god character that it comes back to people in different ages of their lives, etc., etc. But yeah, it very much likens golf, the golf course in general, as a mental battleground. And it talks significantly about that as Juna's working through a bunch of PTSD issues and trying to get him out the other side of that.
I have always been interested in stories that use sports as like a coping mechanism.
You might like this one.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And that actually reminds me of something I real quick forgot about this. Mm-hmm. I learned that in 1935, at the time, best golf player in the world had a caddy who would dress like he was going to a funeral, complete with an Abe Lincoln top hat, and his name was Stovepipe.
Stovepipe. Because of the top hat, or?
I don't know, but it's wonderful. Okay. So my second pick here is actually one that I just wanted to, I guess, proselytize about it, to evangelize. Okay. It's a graphic. It's called Sailor Twain. And it's takes place in the late 19th century, early 20th century, maybe. It's admittedly been a while since I've read it, but it's really, really cool looking in that I'm not entirely sure if this is true or not, but it looks like it was done entirely traditionally, which you don't see very much with graphic novels anymore. It's mostly digital art now, but the whole book looks like it's a sketchbook, pretty much.
Oh, cool.
And it tells this really cool kind of. It's a mermaid story. But it tells it in a more haunting, kind of cryptid sort of way. Like the main character meets a mermaid and falls in love with her, and she's there for almost the entire book. But it becomes very clear the more the story goes on that he is kind of losing his mind.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and meanwhile there is like a sort of kind of murder mystery going on with the captain, Sailor Twain's best friend, Lafayette. He's trying to solve the mystery of his brother's disappearance, and the mermaid does tie into that. Yeah,
of course.
It's scary in that sort of nautical, like it's like oh, there's you wouldn't believe the things in these waters kind of way, and yeah, really well drawn. I should point out though, so there is a good bit of nudity in it. The mermaid is topless the entire book.
As mermaids are wont to be.
As mermaids are wont to be. So just a word to the wise in case you feel like checking it out. But it does come with a very big recommendation from me. It is scary, it's exciting, it's captivating, and it is very lovely as well. Like the romance in here is genuinely sweet.
It sounds like I need to add that to my holds list.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's a good one.
My second and final golf book for this episode is called A Difficult Par, Robert Trent Jones Sr. in the Making of Modern Golf. Robert Trent Jones Sr. is the most famous golf course architect in history.
Okay.
At least modern history. He's made over, I want to say like 500 golf courses worldwide, and in at least 45 of the states. 18 of which are actually in Alabama.
Wow.
There's a Robert Trent Jones golf trail in Alabama.
I've been there, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe. You maybe have been to one of these.
Yeah.
All I know is I grew up in a golf family, so I got my own grip. I know the waggle.
Nice.
But when I told my dad that I was moving to Huntsville a few years ago, he was just like, oh, I'm pretty sure there's a Robert Trent Jones golf course there. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, over in Hampton Cove, there's 3 courses.
Of course it's in Hampton Cove.
Yeah, roughly 50, 55 holes constructed or designed by him.
Wow.
So if you are an avid golfer and you want something to do in Alabama, check out one of the 18 courses on the golf trail. And this is a great biography of him.
Yeah.
I will throw the mention of the book in there as I talk about the golf trail.
Oh, the book's good too.
The book's good too. All about him.
All right. My last pick here is one that's more related to something I did in my personal life recently. So our schedule is a little bit weird right now, and that was because I took some vacation time recently. I went on a solo road trip. It was something I've wanted to do since I was like 16. And I went up to Denver to visit a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
And and this kind of got me thinking about the title of this book. Just kind of got me thinking about the experience. The book is by Neil Gaiman. It is called "The Truth Is a Cave in the Black Mountains."
I love Neil
Gaiman. Oh, he's great. And yeah, just going to Colorado, seeing all the Rockies there, just seeing the mountains, got me thinking about this. I had actually had my eye on it for a while, but just hadn't gotten around to reading it.
Gotcha.
It is somewhere between a novella and a graphic novel.
Okay.
It's completely illustrated, and there are kind of comics put like mixed in. It's sort of like a mixed media kind of book, and it reads almost more like a fable or an epic poem, almost.
Oh.
Like it tells this
kind of prosy.
Yeah, kind of prosy. And it takes place in Scotland. I don't remember all the names of the locales, but I know the Black Mountains for sure is a mountain range in Scotland. I think it's on an island somewhere. But MacGuffin, I guess you could call it, the goal they're trying to reach, is a cave, which is said to contain as much gold as you could imagine. But the catch is, as many times as you go in there, you become a little more evil every time.
This is like the Gollum version of Scotland.
Yeah,
cool.
There's a little part in there where one of the characters mentions, the people here know all about it. They've just got enough sense to not come here. So yeah, it's most of it is between the main character and his guide that he meets along the way.
Okay.
And they have a really cool chemistry. They're obviously not great friends, and they both know this, but they're frank with each other, and there's a certain sort of like just mutual respect there.
Sure.
Like the main character is a dwarf, and he makes a point that to say that he's been ridiculed for that all his life, but the guide doesn't acknowledge it like ever even once, really. I think like at one point he acknowledges it because they had hit a tiff or something like that, but even then he's like, I took no offense to it.
Sure.
So yeah, really cool character chemistry, excellent illustrations, really haunting atmosphere to the whole thing, and it deals a lot with trauma and kind of moving on and kind of self-forgiveness,
sure,
and things like that. So hard recommend.
I'll go on my list as well. My last book has nothing to do with golf other than it is an Iron Man book, and we're drinking a 6 Iron Pilsner. Yep, there we go. So this is a series called Armor Wars, the Invincible Iron Man Armor Wars. And I really liked this book simply because it talks a lot about intellectual property and the fallout of that. Basically, Tony Stark has never patented his armor technology because he doesn't want the information out there. He doesn't want the information used.
Okay.
Well, it falls into the wrong hands anyway.
Of course, as it does.
Yeah, and a bunch of the super bats are like, ha ha ha, we will make our own suit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Stark has to just go on this big, long saga of regaining his intellectual property and taking down the baddies.
Okay.
Another reason why I chose this, other than it's an excellent read, Disney Plus is about to come out with an Armor Wars series featuring War Machine, which is Rhodey. So it's after Endgame, I think. So it's War Machine taking care of Tony Stark's intellectual property.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just making me think of that line in the first Iron Man movie. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave.
In a cave!
With a box of scraps!
Man, I need to rewatch that one.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I need to watch that one again, too.
Yeah. Well, these are our picks. Go check out Hoopla. Go check out our physical books. Definitely come to Rocket Republic with your books and try the 6 Iron Pilsner. If you haven't already, of course, go like the YouTube channel. And we will catch you next time, someone different. Oh.